Hi, I'm Rachel Lattner, and I'm here at Shelby Cars and Coffee with Eric Brown, who's going to be discussing his 2021 Porsche Spyder. Hi Eric, thank you so much for taking some time to discuss
Absolutely.
your vehicle. So how did you acquire this 718 Spyder?
Well, I had to look around for quite a while. I ended up going back to Gainesville, Florida, where I had found it. It's not the average Spyder. Most Spyders come with a 6-speed. This one had a PDK, and I had a certain color that I wanted in an exterior and a certain color I wanted in an interior, and it had to have the PDK. So I ended up looking at about 50 cars before I found this one back in Florida.
Wow, that's quite a bit. So when you ended up finding this vehicle, was it new? Was it used? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I found it at an Acura dealership in Gainesville, Florida. It had 6,000 miles on it. A doctor had it, and he was a little older, and I think getting down low into the car was a little much for him, so he went into a MDX Acura SUV, and this car was very cherry, very sweet.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the engine and also the speed that it gets up to?
Sure, it's a it's a 6-cylinder, 4-liter boxer engine. It's 414 horsepower, naturally aspirated, paired to the Porsche PDK or dual clutch transmission. This car will go close to 200 miles an hour. It's 3,000 pounds curb weight, so it's a lot lighter than a lot of other sports cars. And it really gets up and moves.
So tell me a little bit more about the speed. How long does it take to get to 0 to 60?
It'll do 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. The dual clutch shifts much faster than a human could ever do. Even though you can shift it manually or you can go to the paddle shift, there's no need to. The dual clutch is where it's at.
In regards to the exterior, what kind of wheels does it have? Can you talk a little bit more about the color as well?
So the color is a premium color. It's called chalk. It has that carmine red interior with the black suede inserts to keep you from slipping around in the turns. The wheels are 21-inch. They're called Black Spyder, and Brembo brakes all the way around, vented and drilled discs.
Are there any options on this vehicle that are unique?
Yes, the PDK transmission is pretty rare in this vehicle. Only about 1 in 50 have it. Most people who get a Spyder get it in a 6-speed manual, thinking that that's the way to track this car. But the dual clutch is much faster than any human could shift it. Plus, you have if you do want to shift, you do have the paddle option in this that doesn't come in the majority of cars.
Can you go into the details about the tires and then also the suspension that it has?
Well, the tires are Sport Cup 2s, and as far as the suspension, I mean, it's standard Porsche Boxster suspension. However, it does have a function where you can make it tighter, stiffer for competition or for cornering, or you can lay off of that and have it a little more cruise friendly. But this is not a car you want to go long distances in because it is a very tight suspension. It's a rough ride.
So for this vehicle, how much storage can you actually use?
Well, it does have 2 boots, but each one's only going to fit maybe 1 medium-sized roller. You can probably put 2 garment bags in it, but if you're going away for longer than a 3-day weekend, this is not the car for you.
So what makes this vehicle so much fun? And I know that you do have a lot of other vehicles, Shelby in particular. So in comparison to that, what makes it unique?
Well, I've always had kind of a German car addiction. One of my first really great sports cars was a Porsche 914-6 that I had in high school in 1984. And I loved the car. And the modern Boxster reminds me a lot of that car. It's very raw, but that German precision, corners well. Now, this car really accelerates. I mean, you punch it at 60 miles an hour, it can get away from you. You're going to feel that rear end fishtail a little bit on you, but it's just a fun driving experience. Speed, handling, stopping ability. As a light car, it really stops well. But versus a Shelby is more raw, a lot more horsepower, double the horsepower, a little more weight. Shelby's will weigh about 1,200 to 1,500 pounds more, but you're dealing with over 800 horsepower versus 414. One of the big differences between driving a Shelby is most of the Shelbys are supercharged, and it's that immediate punch, that power that just winds through your body and takes off. They're very different cars. One's American muscle, the other one's German precision.
So this seems like a great car already. Do you have any plans for the future?
Oh, I love this car, but there's a new Porsche Spyder RS that's coming out in 24. And if I can possibly find an opportunity to order it the way I want, I would definitely have to trade up for that car. 0 to 60 times or over a half second faster. It's got carbon brakes, all carbon discs. It is a bullet, and even a higher top end than the present vehicle. More horsepower out of that naturally aspirated 6. It's getting another 160 horsepower. So
wow.
If I can find one, I'll get it. But it's a super rare car, probably less than 100 to come to the U.S. in 24.
Wow, that's incredible. You definitely like fast cars. Thank you so much for explaining all the details about your vehicle.
Sure.
Do you mind if we take it out for a spin?
Okay.
This car is just exciting to even step into. Would you agree?
Oh, I love it.
So fun. You're right. It definitely has just the capability to pick up speed so fast. So the paddle shifter, where is that located?
Right here. These little handles.
Is there any other features to this car that you can kind of modify, or?
You can put it in a manual mode here and shift it like this.
Okay. And then you had a Porsche before. You had the Boxer, did you say?
I had a 914.6, a 73, and then I had a Boxster S in the early 2000s. That's how that letting loose I was telling you about.
Yeah. It's just wild though. It's so fun. It's so fast.
Yeah.
And it's very smooth. I mean, you were talking about the suspension before.
Yeah, I don't have it on tight, but like if I go like this, it'll now be a firmer ride. If I go like this, it opens up the baffles. This makes it shift even faster, and then the spoiler deploys on its own at speed. Or rear wing, I should say.
Do you pretty much just drive it with the top down? Or?
Oh yeah. I haven't owned a sports car without it being a convertible. I mean, you lose a little bit of rigidity and performance, but I don't care. To me, that's just what I love. Yeah, the suede, I mean, you're still sweating, but you're not sliding around like you would on a sheer leather seat.
Or feeling like a hot potato trying to...
Oh yeah, burning yourself when you get in.
Wow, it seems so great.
Now my Mercedes convertible, it's all leather. It's not a suede insert. You feel it if you've left the top down when you come out.
You seem to know a lot of details about cars. Is that something that you incorporate into your work every day? Or?
So I'm the West Coast rep for Shelby. I sell all the Ford trucks, I also sell Harley-Davidson trucks to the same Ford dealers, and another product called Black Ops. And Black Ops is a product that's very near to my heart because we support different veterans causes through it. We have 4 generations of Marines in my family, and we've had some other people in the Navy and the Air Force, and so whenever we sell a Black Ops, a portion of the sale goes to helping out different veteran causes.
How did you get into cars? Did it start with Shelby? Did it start with
No, long ago I was a judge advocate in the Marine Corps, and it was during the Clinton era, and they decided they were downsizing, so they let me out of my contract early. And prior to going in the Marine Corps, I'd spent a summer selling Range Rovers and Volkswagens at a dealership in Salt Lake City, and which was just second nature for me. I had my Porsche 914-6 at the time. I also had a little Volkswagen Fox, which was previously known as the Audi Fox. And I was just always very, very much a car enthusiast. And I had a great summer doing that. And I really didn't like practicing law. I spent a lot of time in an office doing a lot of things that to me just didn't matter. And I had a friend in the car business who stayed in the car business, and he was kind of a total tool. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And he was doing very well, supporting his family very well, and I'm like, I need to get back to doing that. So I got back in the industry. I became a rep. I was living in Texas. I became a rep in New York City, repping these luxury vans made by General Motors, Ford, and Ram. Back then we just called it Dodge. And that's how I got started in what we call second-tier manufacturing, where we take OEM product from the Big Four, which they were known as back then, and enhance it, make it more exciting for the buying public. So I've done that for 25 years now. I started doing Shelby in 2015, and I've been very successful at it. I've been the #1 rep in the country, and I sell more Shelby Mustangs and Shelby trucks than anyone else, and I love it. It's really not a job, it's a lifestyle, and it also helps fuel my German car addiction. But I do have I always have a Shelby in my stable. Currently I have a Shelby Super Snake Sport truck, which is a 2-door truck. It's the 60th anniversary model, so it's a 2022. It goes 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, 0 to 100 in 7.8, and back to 0 in 12. It's got 775 horsepower with big old Brembo brakes on the front. And we just raced it at Pikes Peak 2 weeks ago. My driver, also a Porsche race car driver, competed in over 600 races and won 300 of them. He's won Pikes Peak several times. He drove our truck up there, and he set a new record for production 4-wheel drive trucks. He beat the old record by over 3 minutes. We would have beat it by 4, but we were having brake issues on the last third of the track, and so we had to slow down and put another minute on our time. So I love what I do. I love the automobile business, and I'm just a real enthusiast.
When they say living the dream, it definitely seems like you're living the dream.
It's my dream, definitely. I enjoy it.
That's amazing. Do you have any other German cars that you also enjoy?
That's probably a question for another time. I have some other projects I'm working on. One is a hypercar, another one a supercar. The supercar will be Shelby Ford related. The hypercar is a vehicle that people take delivery on the Nürburgring in Germany. Big 12-cylinder engine, weighs about less than 1,500 kilos with over 1,000 horsepower naturally aspirated. is a crazy beast.
Is there anything specific that you enjoy more or less between American and German cars?
Well, I love American cars. I love the raw horsepower. I love the raw acceleration. And the GT500 is definitely one of my favorite American cars right now. And the stuff that we do to it at Shelby, we have so many different variations of it. The latest being the Code Red, which is over 1,600 horsepower from 2 turbos on that 5.2 liter engine. That thing's crazy. We do another one called the KR, which is a 1,050 horsepower car. But my friend who races in the GT3 Cup, he fell in love with the GT500. He'd always driven GT3 Porsches, and that GT500, he says, will run circles around anything else out there right now. And he should know, I mean, Porsche's the top GT3 car, but the GT500 in the hands of the right driver will school it, because it's so much more power.
You were talking about getting an RS instead of
A Spyder RS? Yeah.
And trading this one in. Would you still do the same color scheme and everything?
Oh, I don't know. I've been playing with a couple of different colors. I'm looking at maybe a yellow one this time, but I love chalk. I have another Porsche. I have a Porsche Macan GTS. It's chalk color just like this. It's got the red interior just like this. So, you know, if I get rid of this, then I got to do something about that. I don't know.
It is nice how the color, you know, doesn't exactly match, but it's pretty close to the calipers too.
Yeah.
Anything that you're looking forward to? Do you ever like do street racing or anything like that?
No, I do a lot of high-speed trips to California, but my wife's only going to allow me to go so fast.
This car out, do you get a lot of questions, people stopping you and admiring?
I do. It's funny though, I get a lot more in my Mercedes Cabriolet, and I think it has more to do with the color of that. It's a special sand color, and then it's got the red interior, and then I did the wheels in a dark cherry red. It's got the red top, which is pretty much always down, but that car gets a lot more look and attention. I just think because it's just so unique. You don't see that all the time. Now this car is unique too, and it gets a lot of attention. But I have more people stop me in the middle of the street over the Mercedes than I do this one.
You talked about how rare this specific model is. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, so when I take it in for service at Godden Porsche, they tell me it's only like one of 2 that they know of in the city of Las Vegas. I know it's a rare car because I had to look all over the United States to find it, and I looked at 50 cars before I was able to find the Porsche dual clutch in this version. And I can tell you, like, just trying to get a Spyder RS, there will be less than 100 of those brought to the United States, and I've been looking at dealers all over California, Florida, Ohio, and I haven't been able to find that car yet. I only found one dealer that had one car, and it went to one of their buyers that buys a lot of vehicles from them.
So you like cars, you enjoy them, you ride them, get to know them, research, do all this work. Do you ever do work on them yourself?
I used to when I was a kid, but anymore the cars are getting so technical and so computerized, and driving by wire that I wouldn't dare try and tune them like I used to. And honestly, I messed with enough carburetors in my life. I don't miss that. I love fuel injection. I love being able to get in the car and it starts right every time versus boom, blah, blah, blah. So as much as I would like to say I work on them, I don't. I leave that to the pros.
Is this passion, is this something that you share with your family, or is this something that's kind of your own thing?
You know, my kids are kind of into it. I've tried to bring them all into my business. I think internal combustion engines are going to go away soon. I think we have a 10-year run ahead of us of some of the really, really great, what I would call analog technology internal combustion engine vehicles. And I think about 10 years is what I've got left in my professional life anyway, so I plan to be on the forefront of enjoying and building some of the best internal combustion engine cars yet to come.
That's great. I'm Rachel Lattner with Shelby Cars and Coffee, and we'll see you out on the road.